would you like to spend your morning? You could spend your morning like this. Or you could spend it like this.
Tune in to the Morning Ride every weekday morning from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. right here on Today FM, Today's Seed Music.
Bola, oya wasala bilawa. Do pataki yao mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single boni moniti kina vagarumbuka. Kako ni valatana no musini sari na kaisa moriando loloma leone vani ni nau omgori ke de mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single boni moniti kina vagarumbuka na Bula FM number 2 en sere.
On FBC News tonight, government opens up market for e-ticketing consoles to other solution providers. Wireless squatters to be gradually relocated as government plans on developing land. And Fiji commemorates 134 years since the first arrival of indentured Indian labourers. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spade. The government has opened up the market to provide e-ticketing services to other companies. As Epeli Tukuwasa reports, an announcement to that effect was made by the acting Prime Minister Aisaid Qayyum this afternoon.
Other companies will now be able to offer e-ticketing services to bus passengers.
The market will be opened up to allow other solution providers, both in the front end and the back end, into the market. However, they all need to comply with various standards.
Sayed Qayyum met with the Land Transport Authority and mobile service providers Vodafone and Digicel to iron issues related to e-ticketing services. Some bus companies signed a petition seeking the government's intervention to allow other service providers to offer e-ticketing services. Vodafone has been providing that service.
And assuming that you have a Vodafone/Phonology card, you should be able to use that card of yours in another machine, and vice versa. So there is universal application as far as the operations of the machines are concerned.
The bus companies will decide which solution providers should be involved in the system. Bus companies have 3 months to install e-ticketing machines on their buses.
Most definitely, as soon as the regulations have been gazetted, and at the end of the 3 months after that, every single bus in Fiji will need to have an e-ticketing machine. And every single machine needs to be able to speak to each other, irrespective of the brand or the back or front end providers.
The opening of the e-ticketing market will increase competition and offer more outlets and better services to the people. Epeli Tukuwasa, FBC News.
The Land Transport Authority says minor glitches are expected from e-ticketing consoles. LTA CEO Naisatuina Deva told FBC News e-ticketing consoles can experience technical problems like any other machine. He says worries about the consoles malfunctioning on rough roads have already been eliminated. However, problems could arise if the bus is out of range of the network.
We expect, that kind of defects happening. But the system itself, the way it has been designed and tested, the durability level is quite high, and that shouldn't really be a worrying factor.
Tuina Deva stressed what's more important is that bus drivers use the e-ticket machine. The government is in the process of relocating the 300 families living at Waile Squatter Settlement in Vatuanga outside Suva. According to the local government ministry, a socio-economic survey conducted in 2010 showed that some of the families earn well above the poverty line. Arrangements are now being made for their relocation before eviction letters are served.
The relocation of these families is expected to start next month. More than 40 families have been identified in the survey to be above the $17,000 income range. The Housing Authority will assist them in acquiring their new homes in Nepani, Tadirua and Wainimbuku. For the other families whose income fall below $5,000, they will be relocated to Lomaivuna and Vanuakula in Naitasiri. According to the local government ministry, some farmers in Lomaivuna have been paid to farm crops while houses are being built to accommodate them.
The plan is when they move in, all the crops like root crops and vegetables are ready to be eaten. So it reduces the money being utilized to spend non-agricultural goods.
There will also be options for members of the People's Community Network to acquire new homes at G2 Estate.
This is the two-story, the single-story, the two-story, single-story, and the single-level houses where some of the families from Wele will be moved if they are members of the People's Community Network.
Bola says that they have a partnership program with TPF to recruit unemployed youths in the area to help them earn an income. Wasita Kote Wasawasa, FBC News.
Calls have been made to reduce the number of subsidized foreign vessels fishing in Pacific waters. Greenpeace says local tuna boats targeting albacore could be pushed out of operation by the steady growth of subsidized foreign fishing vessels. This concern has now reached the 85th Forum Fishing Committee meeting, which is currently underway in the Solomon Islands.
The issue of local tuna boat operators going out of business because of subsidized foreign fishing vessels isn't new. These claims have been made in the past by the Fiji Tuna Boat Owners Association. At the 85th FFC meeting that began yesterday, Greenpeace raised the same concerns, only this time they've gathered concerns from across the region.
Essentially what's happening is local boats are now being tied up from what we've heard in the discussions over the last few days, and instead of being out there fishing, they're in their harbours and at port, just sitting there not catching fish at all.
Duncan Williams is urging Pacific countries to also do their part.
Quite simply, our domestic fleets are crying out for help, and I think governments across the region need to respond to this call for help and assist our domestic fleets with the right type of policies.
Meanwhile, here at home, the Fisheries Department has refuted all claims that the tuna industry is in jeopardy. In fact, it goes on to say that no foreign fishing vessels are fishing in Fiji's EEZ and that all licenses given out have been given to local operators.
Okay, this year Fiji actually, the department has actually issued 65 licenses, and all these licenses are from local companies, and these are national fleets, these are all domesticated fleets, and none were issued to any vessels that have been foreign.
Millie Ray Vembe maintains that the tuna industry in Fiji is developing and continues to grow. Roland Karoy, FBC News.
Today we commemorate 134 years since the first arrival of indentured Indian labourers in Fiji. In 1879, under the governorship of Sir Arthur Gordon, the first Indian indentured labourers came to Fiji. USP Language and Literature Professor Sudesh Mishra says bringing indentured labourers impeded the Itauke's involvement in the economy. Devna Ryan has more.
Mishra says this is one of the negative effects the indenture system had on the Itauke community and was also not considered by Sir Arthur Gordon.
The Indians force, they very quickly entered into modern economic forms and modern social relations as a result of those economic forms. Was the Fijians were actually kept in their government gardens, yeah. Their taxation was even different, yeah. They were taxed in kind, not in cash.
He says a majority of the people that came under the indenture system were from agricultural backgrounds, and some even were involved in criminal activities.
A great deal of the people who came were in fact from the Ahir caste. They were agricultural people, and they left, depending on the year you're talking about.
We also spoke to a 94-year-old, Achudan Nair, who was born when the indenture system neared its end in Fiji. Nair says while he was not one of the Grimitiers, his father basically talked about the hard work they did to help create the Fiji we see today.
My father used to receive letters from India, and he also replied to those letters in his own words. The letter that was written to him carried the address. It was written Calicut, Malabar. My father hailed from Malabar.
The indenture system came to a halt in 1916 after public outrage in the United Kingdom. All existing indentures were cancelled on the 1st of January 1920. Devnarayan, FBC News.
Still to come on FBC News, schools to ban smoking on premises as tobacco regulation comes into effect from July.
Isambolo binaka, na dango wadi soni dalai, na makio mani wasini ngono borota kina lali ne kabi, mai na tolu kina bitu, ena moni digina por rombuka, ena Bula FM, na bandu ena serre.
Bula, I'm Wame. Join me every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on The Center Show with classic hits from the 70s as well as the 80s right here on Gold FM.
Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. As schools around the country kicked off Term 2 today, the Ministry of Health is urging all teachers and management to discourage smoking on school premises. It will be illegal to smoke in teaching institutions under the Tobacco Control Regulation, which takes effect on July 1st. Chanel Sivan with the details.
150 tobacco-related charges have been laid so far this year. That covers people smoking in prohibited places and retailers who fail to comply with tobacco sales regulation. The head of Tobacco Control Unit, Aminiasi Tavui, says school management in particular need to enforce non-smoking.
One of the prohibited places are teaching institutions from 1st of July. So all these schools will be prohibited places for people to smoke. This includes teachers as well. It's a new inclusion in our new regulation. All the head teachers and school managements, please assist in trying to combat these offenders who smoke in your premises.
According to the Tobacco Control Decree, companies are obliged to ensure no person smokes within their workplace and must have a clearly placed no smoking sign. Failing to do so will bring hefty fines.
The fines ranges from $200 to $5,000. The fines are on smoking in public places, playing grounds, stadiums.
Police and customs officers, the Itoke Affairs Ministry and Environmental Health Department will all be involved in enforcing and monitoring smoking as of July. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
People across the Pacific have an opportunity to tap a new information source aimed at finding solutions to the problems of climate change. The Pacific Solution Exchange is an email-based think tank that enables people to ask each other questions and share solutions. Akosita Tale finds out how social media can generate solutions for problems.
Climate change presents specific challenges. However, it can have its own homegrown solutions by involving people who seek to solve the climate problems facing them.
And people are engaged in this social media, they're engaged in what is happening in this technology, and what we see here is maybe we should start thinking about how we can put those two together and use technology to find solutions to this problem of climate change.
This will not only help bridge local people to broad policy making, but will ensure their solutions are heard and perhaps applied globally.
By having more information from more people, more of the time, I think we can really put something together which is good because we can see how different people's perspectives feed into finding a solution that works for both people in rural areas and on the ground, but also works for the people in the UN and the people with other donors.
This initiative is to get feedback from people as they experience climate change.
They can feedback during disasters or just want to text back like Twitter, but instead text messaging on this is what's happening, this is how this project has benefited us.
Dr. Bumper says the Pacific Solution Exchange now aims to undertake more research on how people make use of their service to improve the effectiveness of climate change projects in the Pacific. Aksita Tale, FBC News.
The National Fire Authority's new look website was launched by the local government minister Colonel Samuela Samatua this morning. Samatua says the new website is another important achievement for the NFA, which is part of its reforms. He says the website will greatly assist NFA deliver the best standard emergency management service to the people of Fiji.
The website will allow for better interaction between NFA, its stakeholders, and members of the community and enable them to access information on the role and responsibilities of NFA, requirements relating to fire safety compliance, and more importantly, access information that will assist them in taking preventative measures to minimize the impact of fire and disasters.
To date, NFA has recorded a total of 44 structural fires where 6 people have lost their lives. Jamie now joins us for sports. So tell us, are the classic All Blacks really coming?
Well, aren't you eager to find out? Yes, they're still scheduled to play the Flying Fijians, and they're actually in the final stages of team selection. So don't worry, we can all get to watch some rugby players at home. Details of this coming up after the break.
आपकी शादी होने वाली है, 5 बच्चे होंगे। 5 हाय, मैं हूँ आपकी सहेली रेनू। सुनते रहिए मिर्च एफएम, मैं हूँ ना 9 से 12 बजे तक।
I wake up in the morning, I prefer to go down to the gym, get a bit of physical work done. Also later on in the day, I decide to go through for meditation. I do a bit of reading to find out what the latest songs are, a bit of research. And for me, it's all about the listeners.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rio, and this is the Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 o'clock to 7, only on Today FM. Today is hit music. What's up?
Welcome back. You're watching FBC Sports. Just one more day before the start of the 2013 Coca-Cola Games, and organizers are hoping past record holders will partake as medal presenters. It's the freshest idea they've come up with to mark the occasion of the first Coke Games at the new-look ANZ National Stadium. Elena McDonald reports.
Tireless nights and weeks of preparation will soon pay off when the Coke Games begins on Thursday. And with a brand new track, a new pitch and state-of-the-art change rooms, athletes couldn't ask for more to help them secure that top prize.
I think the only slight advantage would be the teams that participated in last week's Fiji Games. They probably have a slight edge. But in terms of the preparation of the sports days from the zones, I think everybody did their build-up on grass tracks. So I think everybody's coming on with an equal footing. And I think that makes it more exciting.
As athletes start to arrive, it appears the first-time jitters is no longer the races, but the first-time feel of the new facility.
Schools that are coming from the west are calling in to say, when could we use the track? I say, you go down and ask Fiji Sports Council. They are the ones that will give the okay. But at the moment, people are now using the track. They're warming up and now doing the final preparation for the Coke Games.
Organizers have high hopes of bringing back the stars of late.
I'm requesting all the record holders up here 2000 if they could give me a call. My telephone number is 9925-947. Because we really want to come down again to the track. Compare the last track and to the one that we now have. That in itself would be something to see.
The games are going to be bigger and better this year. The motto, our games, our dreams, our future, couldn't be more fitting. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
And the Coca-Cola Games boast they are the biggest track and field event in the Pacific. This year, there will be more than 2,000 athletes from 148 schools competing at the refurbished ANZ National Stadium. Some have already arrived and are starting to get used to the new tracks and field ahead of the Games. But what's more exciting is discovering the newfound talent bound to reveal itself starting Thursday.
This is one of the most important strengths of the Coca-Cola Games, the rural support that we get from outside the main dominant of Suva and the western side. The rural schools play a very big and important role in the development of athletics. Now that we have a new stadium, you can just imagine the joy and the pride that each athlete will take when he runs onto those tracks and onto the field.
76 events will be held on the first day, with day one expected to end around 8 in the evening. And as mentioned earlier, the management of the Classic All Blacks are in the final stages of putting together a team for the much anticipated match against the Flying Fijians. Laced with former All Black reps, the team will also include a few names still playing in New Zealand. Indra Singh with more.
Super Rugby stars are hard to come by. That is for the fans of this country.
However, this will change when the Classic All Blacks tour Fiji next month to play our Flying Fijians.
There may be one or two. Jamie McIntosh is just playing for clearance now. One or two like that.
Aiden says the core of the team selected to play Fiji will be made up of former All Black internationals. And this will mean McIntosh would just be amongst a handful of players who are still plying their trade in New Zealand.
In principle, their competition is still going, and the Classic All Blacks is mainly to do with players who are contracted to clubs overseas and that have their summer break in the Northern Hemisphere and in Japan.
Flying Fijians coach Inoke Male will name his squad for the match in the Pacific Nations Cup this week. Already indications from top overseas-based players are that they will be available for the next month during the duration of Fiji's outings. This surely will give the fans and the game a major boost. Interesting, FBC Sports.
After success at the Fiji Games, Bodybuilding Fiji will be sending 2 representatives to the New Zealand Bodybuilding Championships in October. This has been hailed as a major boost for the sport in the country. Salendau Kavaka has more.
Ratumeli Nabutobuto is a well-respected figure in the local weightlifting scene. His involvement in the sport for over 2 decades has bore fruition with his appointment to officiate at the New Zealand Bodybuilding Championships. He will be joined by newly crowned Mr. Fiji, Bonoriti Randua, who will be competing at the event.
I've been judging for a couple of years back here, and the organization IBB Federation, and that's the first time to go to officiate in the NAB National Championship in New Zealand in October 10. Hopefully I'm taking one athlete or two over to represent Fiji in that national bodybuilding in New Zealand.
This achievement comes to the work done by Bodybuilding Fiji and their counterparts in New Zealand.
Mind you, it's the first time ever Fiji has conducted a judges seminar locally. And from what they observed, they liked and they were impressed with Randua, and they've invited him. And they've seen the sincerity and the commitment of our officials and our athletes. So they want to assist us by inviting our chief judge to go and gain further international experience to assist the sport in Fiji.
Their participation at the New Zealand Champs bodes well for the sport in the country. Chalendo the Kavaka, FBC Sports.
And that's it from Sports Tonight. Good evening.
The South Pacific Tourism Organization is helping small-scale tourism operators in the region develop through its $13 million European Union funding. Through its Pacific Regional Tourism Capacity Building Program, it is able to provide training on various levels, including internet marketing and also supporting cruise ship development. This is the second year of the program, and the SPTO gave regional tourism stakeholders and its funding partners a progress of their work at the Fijian resort yesterday.
Tourism has and will always be the #1 industry in Pacific Island countries. Except for Papua New Guinea, it's very rich in mineral resources. Other island countries do not have those opportunities. So the only economic development options available to these island countries is tourism.
And it's time for weather now. Genevieve, what's the latest?
Jackie, I think the weather office wanted to play a little trick on us today. Everyone expected clouds and showers this morning, and lo and behold, Fiji had fabulously sunny conditions. A few clouds here and there, but nevertheless a beautiful day. Let's take a look at today's temperatures. 33 degrees in Lambasa is the highest, with Suva, Nadi and Lautoka on 31. Not a single cloud or raindrop in sight tomorrow, or at least that's what I've been told. Everybody can expect fine conditions all around the country, all throughout the day. And it's photo time. This stunning waterfall at Korolevu, Singatoka was captured on camera by Mohammed Hakim. Now, I love this photo. because it showcases not just the natural beauty of Fiji, but the adventurous Fijian spirit. As always, Citizens Eyes at FBC.com.fj is the place for all your original shots. To everyone else who sent in their photos, thank you so much. We will definitely try to use them all. Catch me tomorrow evening. Stay safe and stay smiling.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. And before we leave, a recap of the headlines. Government opens up market for e-ticketing consoles to other solution providers. Wireless squatters to be gradually relocated as government plans on developing land. Fiji commemorates 134 years since the first arrival of indentured Indian labourers. Now on to our poll question for this week, and we ask, can Fiji win the Rugby Sevens World Cup? Log on to www.fbc.com.fj to take part. Remember, you can also send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. That's all for tonight. See you again tomorrow.
जहाँ हो प्यार का बसेरा और रिश्तों की खुशबू, वो है आपका अपना घर संसार. Join me on घर संसार, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. only on Radio Fiji 2.
Nimbula, methango nimilote na isoro tambua. Nama kia umena rua kina ona na veka vi moniti kina pakarombuka. Rongo mena via sama kina viva ko barota kinin reko malolo. Ena Radio Fiji 1 na wong gani pioniano. Ngai nama kia kina.